Thank you for that question or that guidance on where next. Where do we start when we realize that we could be having burnout? So there are three things that there's what we call the 3R approach, where we need to recognize that we have burnout, which I think after our session today, you have probably recognized that you could be having burnout. Okay, so we've dealt with the first R. Then the second R, which is reverse, we need to find ways of undoing the damage that has already been caused, which I will be talking about shortly. And then, of course, build our resilience for the future, so that in the future we don't get into burnout. So some of the general tips that we can do, and you can tie this to the causes, you can tie this to some of the symptoms that I talked about. They are more or less like antidotes to some of those symptoms that we talked about. Yeah. The first tip that we can quickly get to is to seek support, turn to other people. If you realize that some of these symptoms, you are checking most of the boxes, turn to other people, seek support. So reach out to the people around you. Okay, increase your social contact, reach out to those closest to you, be more sociable, make it intentional to reach out to people. Like if you're working in an office environment, you're this person who comes straight to their desk, does not talk to anyone, is cooped on their work, and not talking to anyone. 5 o'clock, they're out. Make an effort. Say hello to your next neighbor, Yes. Make sure when people are going for tea, go to the tea area and have a chat with somebody. Seek somebody, go for lunch together. So make it intentional. It's hard, but we can try to make it intentional to increase the contact. Be more sociable with your co-workers. And then the other thing you need to fight to make intentional is avoid negative environments, negative talks. Because we have these people, sometimes we have people around us who are just negative. Yes. Avoid that, because they're the ones who are feeding you with all these pessimistic messages, negative messages. Oh, the world is like this. Oh, this world is so unfair. Oh, I don't have this. Stay away from those people actively. Yes. Then connect with a cause that is meaningful to you. Look for something that you can give back to the society. Yeah. What is it? What is the one little thing that you can give back that you're not even being paid for? Can you go to a children's home and spend time with the children, read for them? What neighborhood activity can you add there? Something like a cleaning, just something that means something to you. It's always so good to give back. It's quite healing. Yeah, and it takes you away from the routine of your work. And then make it intentional to find new friends. So those are some of the tips that you can try and practice to turn to other people. Because no man is an island. No. Human beings are social beings. We cannot survive on our own. In fact, the pandemic did us such a disfavor. Yeah. I think it's probably brought in things that we will discover in a few years to come, some of the side effects. We are meant to be together. So reach out to people. The second tip is reframe the way you look at your world. Reframe the way you look at your world, whether it is your work, whether it is the relationships that you have, whether it is the home environment. So that you can find some balance in your life. And this one is not easy. It's not as easy as that. Reframing, because you're changing your belief systems. Yeah. So this is where you need help, maybe the help of a professional, to help you identify your belief systems. What are these things that maybe are limiting beliefs? How can you change how you even look at your family setup? For example, back to that mother with 4 children. Yes. How is she viewing her family setup? Mm-hmm. How is she looking at herself? How is she looking at motherhood? Remember, we've just redefined this scenario. We say this is the most important job. Has anyone told her that? It may take just somebody reaffirming you, but you can only do that if you get to talk to people. Somebody reminding you that, hey, you're looking at this all wrong. It doesn't mean that when you are staying at home taking care of the family that you're a failure, that you don't have a career. And I know our society tells us otherwise. You meet people, they ask you, oh, I am so and so. What do you do? That is the next question.
Yes.
So imagine that stay-at-home mom, that mother raising a nation, raising the next generation. You're asking them, what do they do? Can you imagine what that does to them? They don't have anything to tell you, Even self-employed people are not accorded the much respect like someone who is in a professional career. Yet, the self-employed person is actually better than you because they're employing people.
Yes.
They're employing other people. You're just one employed person. So we need to help people to change their perception about their whole world, their self and their, how they view themselves, how they view the world. And that one you can only get with the help of a professional, like when you go to a psychologist, or a life coach, they can help you to change your limiting beliefs. To help you just to assess how are you viewing yourself, And this is where things like your self-esteem, your self-worth come in. What do you think about yourself? So reframing the way you look at yourself, at your world, at the work that you do. Do you feel like the work you do is adding value, or you're just there for the sake of bringing in the check,
Yes.
Yeah, so then the other one is reevaluating your priorities, okay? What are your priorities? In fact, when you go to see a professional, because sometimes these are things that are easier said than done, and you may need somebody to walk you through them. So they will help you to reevaluate your priorities.
Yeah.
What are your priorities in life? Do you have goals? Yeah. What are your values? Do you have goals? What are your dreams? What are your hopes? What are your fears? What are your pains? What are you struggling with right now? What are those areas where you feel your boundaries are being infringed on?
Yes.
So this will teach you to set your boundaries. Then you can also reevaluate your priorities, one, by setting your boundaries. Two, taking a break from technology. I talked about technology earlier on, social media. Intentionally detoxing from technology.
Yes.
Then, what is this one thing that you love doing? What are your hobbies? Nourish your creative side. Do you have something that you like doing? Is it singing? Is it playing a musical instrument? Is it helping? And then intentionally set aside a relaxation time. So these are things that we should understand are priorities. As women especially, we are overloaded. We have so much to do. Sometimes we even feel guilty when we rest.
Imagine.
Just sitting down on your sofa with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and just watching a comedy show. You feel guilty. So we need to get to a point where we value self-care. So this is under reevaluating your priorities.
Yeah.
Your self-care is a priority. Do we know that? So set aside time for relaxation and self-care. Then get plenty of sleep. Sleep, you remember earlier on I talked about one of the causes is lack of sleep.
Yes.
Yeah, lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle are you engaging in? Yeah. So get plenty of sleep intentionally. Yeah. Switch off technology. You can even say, like I had a friend of mine who she had, children at different ages, and she made sure she bought them phones that were not so technologically advanced, just for communication. But at 9 p.m., all the phones were going to her room. There was a tray in her room where all the phones are put. No gadget is switched on at 9, and I really admired that.
Yeah.
So everybody is switched off. So those are some of the active steps that we can take. And if for you as an individual, you can also do that yourself, that favor. And then another thing that people maybe underestimate, exercising. Physical exercise.
Yes.
You remember the physical symptoms we were talking about?
Yes.
Physical symptoms of burnout. If you exercise, it will get rid of those physical symptoms.
And
yes, it will get rid of almost all those things. Exercise is just a healer, as in we don't even talk about exercising as much. Yeah, as part of self-care, we need to move, we need to exercise, we need to be physically active.
Yeah.
Today, unfortunately, we are not moving. We've become a sedentary nation where we sit on our desks the whole day. We get out, we get into a matatu or into our vehicles or on a boda boda. Boda boda has also reduced the movement. We used to walk.
Yes.
Even short distances, nobody's walking anymore. So we need to get back to prioritizing exercising because it's a powerful antidote to stress and burnout. It boosts your mood. It uplifts your mood. The hormones, the feel-good hormones that are released when you exercise are just amazing. Yeah, and they're healing.
Yes.
They are an antidote to the hormone, the cortisol hormone. So we need that to keep ourselves psychologically healthy, physically healthy. So, and it can help to mitigate the effects of the high levels of stress.
Okay.
So just a short exercise. You don't have to go to the gym. You can take an evening walk. 30 minutes evening walk is okay, as long as you're ensuring that you're active. Keep ourselves moving. Human beings were made to move. We are not meant to be sedentary. Yeah, but a lot of us, we sit down a lot. Then we don't, we are in our cars, we are in the matatus, so we don't move. When we come from work, we are sitting down, then we sleep. Tomorrow, the same routine. Before long, we develop now what we call lifestyle diseases, which just complicates our issues.
Yeah.
Just complicates our issues. So exercising is another practical tip that I want to encourage every listener. If you're not active, get moving. A 30 minutes walk every single day or even 3 times a week is good enough. It's a good place to start.
Yeah.
If you can't walk, exercise in your house. Just even do skipping, do something just to move. Yeah. And then finally, our diets. Tied to the exercise is our diets. Our diets have tremendously changed.
Yes.
It's amazing that these are simple things that can actually affect. Remember we said some of the coping mechanisms will be food?
Yes,
and most likely
junk
food. Yes. Junk food is what we will turn to. So our diets, what are we eating? What are we feeding our families? How much sugar, processed foods, oil, So if we could just review our diet, we know. It's not like we don't know. I can't sit here and start preaching or take more vegetables, fruits. We all know what we should do. And I'm not saying this because it's easy. No. It's something we have to push ourselves to do. Remember, the brain gets used to what you're telling it.
Yes.
So you have to push the brain. You have to push yourself, and you have to make it intentional that you want to change your life. Otherwise, you'll just continue that way. You'll get into burnout, and at the end of burnout, you're looking at very serious psychological disorders like depression, anxiety, and so many other, panic. You can even get into a panic attack, and you're wondering, how did I get here? What happened? Why am I going through depression? What happened? It is progressive. We did not identify the symptoms at the beginning. We did not do anything about it. We identified them, but we were like, that's life. Yeah. So those are just some of the general tips that we can apply in our day-to-day life to ensure that we don't get to the point of burnout.